Hello MotoGP enthusiasts, welcome back to ZNGP Today. After years of dominating World Superbikes, Toprak Razgatlioglu is making the leap to MotoGP with Pramac Yamaha for 2026. Following a first taste of MotoGP machinery in Jerez and an official Valencia test, Toprak opened up about the experience, from nerves in a totally new paddock to early impressions of the Pramac V4 and the heavy testing load that awaits. The FIM Awards Gala in Lausanne offered a night of celebration, but the emotional center of the evening was unquestionably Marc Márquez. From years spent battling injury and doubt to lifting the 2025 MotoGP World Championship, Márquez's presence at the gala felt like the end of a long, dramatic chapter and the start of another. Don't forget to click subscribe button and the bell icon for MotoGP news update. For a rider used to superbikes, arriving at a MotoGP paddock is like stepping into another universe. Toprak described his opening hours in Valencia as strange and overwhelming, not only because of the physical differences between machines, but because the environment itself is larger, noisier, and more intense than anything he'd known before. Cameras, media pressure, and the sheer density of people made that first day one of adjustment rather than performance hunting. Still, the warmth he found in the team and the calm presence of teammate Jack helped ease that transition, turning initial nerves into productive sessions. At first, everything was completely different. Not just the bike, everything, the whole paddock. I admit that, above all, the first day in Valencia was strange with everything that was going on. The number of people and the cameras made me a little nervous during that first experience. Quote from Toprak Razgatlioglu. In short, Toprak's first impressions were dominated by adaptation, observing, learning, and letting the new environment settle before pushing for lap time gains. When it came to the machine itself, Toprak struck a measured tone. He has only sampled the new Pramac V4 so far and deliberately kept things conservative at the beginning of his run program. That cautious approach paid off. By the end of the Valencia activity and an extra private test day, he showed clear signs of improving pace. Crucially, the MotoGP bike's straight-line speed left a strong impression, an obvious step up from superbikes and a characteristic he'll have to learn to manage on circuits with long straights. The feeling was anything but negative, although at first I didn't push it at all. So far I've only ridden the new V4, so I have no comparison. The truth is, on the straights, the MotoGP bike is incredibly fast. Toprak's methodical approach, observe, adapt, and then increase his workload, suggests he's prioritizing long-term learning over short-term headline times, a sensible plan for any rookie in a new category. Toprak didn't limit his observations to the Yamaha garage. He paid particular respect to other newcomers, especially Diogo Moreira, who stepped up from Moto2 to test the Honda RC213V. Toprak acknowledged that the Moto2 to MotoGP transition gives some riders advantages in terms of riding position and familiarity with modern chassis dynamics, and he singled out Moreira as someone who adapted well during Valencia. That kind of mutual respect among rookies points to a competitive, but collegial, rookie class for 2026. I think Moreira was anything but slow. He did a very good job in Valencia. He is undoubtedly very good. He also benefits from his Moto2 experience. For Toprak, recognizing other riders' progress is part of his own learning curve, knowing who will push him, who will share data, and where to measure his own development. Looking forward, Toprak faces a heavy winter testing schedule, multiple shakedown days followed by official tests, beginning on January 29th at Sepang and continuing with Buram before the season opener on March 1st. While he admits the format feels intense, he's realistic about what it will take to be ready. Toprak framed 2026 as a great challenge, a year of many unknown circuits and relentless travel, but also as an opportunity to learn quickly and build toward consistent competitiveness. It's a great challenge for me, a new challenge. I'm open to learning everything that has happened and everything that will happen. Next year will be a very demanding season because we have so many races and there are some circuits I don't know yet. With discipline, the support of his team, and a sensible, measured approach to testing, Toprak appears determined to convert early caution into race day confidence. Toprak Razgatlioglu's first outings with Pramac Yamaha read like the opening chapter of a steep learning curve: initial nerves, cautious bike work, respect for fellow rookies, and a packed testing calendar ahead. If his private test improvement is any indication, the Turk's transition to MotoGP will be watched closely, not only because of his Superbikes pedigree but because he's approaching the jump with patience and a clear plan to adapt. 2026 promises to be one of the season's most intriguing rookie stories. The visuals were striking. A rider who once accepted awards via video from a hospital room now walking on stage as the season's biggest hero. Presenters and attendees repeatedly reminded the audience of those darker days. The surgeries, the long recoveries, and the seasons lost to pain, making Márquez's appearance feel less like ritual and more like redemption. He himself sounded awed by how far he'd come, framing the return in simple, human terms that cut through the usual sporting rhetoric. "At one point I thought it would be impossible to come back, but here we are again." Quote from Marc Márquez. That single line captured the arc of his story: doubt transformed into determination, setbacks into motivation. It also set the tone for a night where emotion trumped statistics, and gratitude replaced boasting. Behind the applause sits a ledger of physical sacrifice. Márquez did not shy away from the reality. The injuries have been frequent, the surgeries numerous, and the rehabilitation relentless. For fans who fixate on lap times and podiums, his reminder of the human body's fragility was a sobering counterpoint, a message that elite performance is built on grit, medical science, and a team that pushes a rider back into the saddle. "I injured my right shoulder again, and I think this is the 7th operation on my right arm." By naming the operations aloud, Márquez made his victory feel earned in the oldest sense, not only through talent, but through repeated, painful work. It turned applause into respect for resilience. Even in victory, Márquez kept the mood light and relatable. He spoke of the rivalry with his brother not as bitter contention but as a complicated, affectionate competition that sometimes made family dynamics amusingly awkward, even his mother picking a favorite. Those moments humanized a champion who, to many, seems almost superhuman on the bike. "It's been one of the best seasons of my life because my main opponent was my brother, and that's been a bit complicated." The joke landed for a reason. It reminded the public that sport is nested inside life, and that championship battles are often threaded with family stories, humor, and the everyday tensions that make athletes relatable. The gala organizers added a final, moving touch, a bespoke award recognizing an extraordinary comeback, and they chose Márquez as the inaugural recipient. The surprise underscored the wider significance of his year. It wasn't only about trophies, but about inspiring people across the sport. In accepting the honor, Márquez made a point to remember colleagues who paid the ultimate price for their passion, blending celebration with solemn remembrance. "The FIM, this is a tremendous honor. When you start out in motorcycling, you dream of being here someday." His words carried two layers: pride in personal achievement and an appeal to the community. To remember those lost, to respect the risks, and to cherish the moments when dreams are realized. Marc Márquez's speech at the FIM Gala was part victory lap, part human testimony. It celebrated a remarkable sporting comeback while refusing to gloss over the pain, the operations, and the personal costs along the way. Whether you view him as a riding genius, a persevering champion, or simply a devoted son of the sport, this evening reaffirmed one fact: some comebacks do more than win races. They remind everyone why the sport matters. Thanks for watching ZNGP Today, and this is your MotoGP news update. And see you next time!